What if your garden border wasn't just beautiful, but brilliantly functional too? Imagine flower beds that store your tools, planters that reshape your layout overnight, and raised beds that look like they belong in a fairy tale. In this episode of Backyard Fortune, we're unveiling the most creative wood flower bed designs that you can actually build yourself. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or just starting out, these DIY ideas are practical, affordable, and built to inspire. This video includes timestamps. Skip ahead to your favorite designs. And if you have questions, drop them in the comments. Let's build something beautiful together. Geometric wood flower bed border for modern patios. Sometimes, all it takes to transform an ordinary patio into a cherished retreat is the thoughtful placement of a few wooden borders and the right kind of bloom. In the first garden, bold geometric lines intersect like folded ribbons, forming a zigzag rhythm that frames the space like a work of sculptural art. Crafted from rich-toned wood, each section holds an explosion of marigolds, petunias, and silver-leafed foliage that dances in contrast to the earthy texture of the planter. It's not just decorative, it's a layout with intention. These border boxes subtly separate garden from walkway, but without breaking the conversation between nature and design. The best part? These angled pieces are DIY-friendly with basic carpentry skills and a little planning. The result is a space that feels alive, confident, and beautifully unexpected. Step into the second garden and everything softens. This space is gentle, restful in its symmetry and glow. Clean, pale timber borders form a crisp right-angled layout that hugs a corner like an embrace. There's no noise here, just the hush of baby's breath and lavender-colored daisies swaying softly against the white masonry wall. Ivy stretches upward, as if reaching toward the light. It's a serene, modular setup, ideal for smaller patios or introverted corners of larger spaces. With a few treated planks and mindful layering of wood, anyone can recreate this calm. It's minimalism not as a trend, but as a language, a dialogue of simplicity, air, and green things growing quietly over time. Then, the final garden opens its arms with a welcome as warm as spring itself. Planters shaped like gentle polygons unfold across a tiled courtyard, forming islands of color and texture. A center bed filled with pink tulips stands surrounded by lavender bushes like a queen in bloom, her court of fragrance in perfect formation. The surrounding hexagon beds are a masterclass in modular planning. They can be arranged, rearranged, expanded. It's both playful and structured, inviting gardeners to design their own living mosaic. This layout proves that even the sharpest shapes can feel soft when they cradle flowers with such care. Each of these borders carries its own personality, bold, gentle, joyful. And every one of them is within reach. With a few hours, the right materials, and the heart to begin, a dream garden isn't just possible, it's already taking shape in the imagination. Let these designs be not just ideas, but invitations. Two, rustic reclaimed wood garden bed border. There's a kind of beauty that doesn't ask for perfection. It simply exists, honest, weathered, and full of soul. You'll find it in gardens framed with rustic reclaimed wood, where each plank carries its own quiet story. In the first scene, tall jagged timbers stand upright like old guardians, surrounding lavender and ferns that sway gently in the afternoon breeze. A small stone squirrel perches on the edge, as if watching over the piece. The texture of the wood is rough, grayed by sun and softened by time, giving this corner an old-world charm that feels lived in and loved. No symmetry needed. Just depth, texture, and the courage to let things be a little wild. A different tone emerges in the second garden. Lighter, livelier, playful. Here, the reclaimed boards are shorter, stained in warm and cool hues, gray, brown, gold, like a wooden rainbow around a patch of blooming coneflowers and cheerful zinnias. The rustic watering can tucked between the flowers tells us this is a gardener's space, active and real. It's imperfect by design, but entirely inviting. You don't need to sand every edge or align every board perfectly. The variety is the charm, and the materials? Accessible. Old fence slats, leftover deckwood, or salvaged barn pieces, all welcome in a project like this. Then comes the third garden, untamed, enchanting, and deeply serene. Tall wildflowers rise behind worn wooden stakes that are softened by moss, speckled with mushrooms, and shaded by the trees above. Daisies, foxgloves, and golden sunflowers grow as if they've claimed the space for themselves, spilling over the edges in an unchoreographed dance. Here, nature leads the design. The wood isn't polished, it's pitted, cracked, alive with memory. And that's precisely what gives the space its soul. This kind of border doesn't try to control nature, it holds space for it, gently. Each of these gardens offers a different kind of sanctuary. Whether tucked in a courtyard, set in the center of a sunlit yard, or nestled deep in the woodland edge, reclaimed wood flower bed borders offer more than just a place to plant. They offer character, warmth, and connection. So gather what you can find, trust your instincts, and let your hands follow your heart. Sometimes, the most beautiful gardens begin with what others left behind. Three, tiered wooden flower beds with hanging garden planters. Not all gardens are flat. Some rise gently, step by step, inviting us to follow their rhythm like the notes of a lullaby. In the first garden, a semicircular wooden structure unfolds in perfect arcs, each tier slightly taller, each level more abundant. Lavender spills like waves from the lower steps, while soft pink cosmos and baby blue blooms gather toward the top like an offering to the morning sun. Hanging above, delicate ceramic planters cradle fuchsia blossoms and pearls of trailing vines. It's a stage of color, grace, and simplicity. But beyond its beauty, this design is practical. The shape allows easy access to every flower and maximizes space without overwhelming the eye. It's something you could build slowly, layer by layer, until the whole thing feels like it grew there on its own. In the second space, we're transported to a sunny corner where function and poetry meet. The planters, crafted from recycled wood, are shaped like staggered steps leaning into a sunlit wall. Above them, trailing blossoms hang from blue jars, while butterflies dance in and out of the shadows cast by a simple pergola. This layout is as smart as it is beautiful, perfect for herbs, marigolds, or pansies, anything that thrives in tears and light. What makes it so accessible is its modular nature. You could start with 2 levels and add more later. You could use whatever wood you have on hand. You could even paint the planks if you like. But even left raw and natural, it tells a complete story, one of balance, effort, and joy. And finally, we arrive in a gently sloping meadow, where horizontal tiers stretch like sunlit terraces. The wood is golden, smooth, and warm beneath the setting sun. Hanging baskets swing from rustic beams above, dripping with ivy and geraniums, while each level of the bed brims with petunias, snapdragons, and fragrant herbs. This is a design that loves sunlight. It wants to be seen, felt, and used. Whether it's built into a hillside or arranged atop flatland with raised support, this cascading garden teaches us something. Flowers don't just grow, they tell stories in layers. These tiered beds are more than just decorative. They are architectural poetry, useful and imaginative, ideal for small spaces or wide landscapes. They offer structure without rigidity. And when combined with hanging planters, each one a floating pocket of beauty, they create a sense of elevation, both literal and emotional. To build one is to build upward, toward possibility, toward presence. And every time you water that topmost bloom, you'll feel it. A garden isn't just a place. It's a progression, a journey in full color. Four, curved garden bed border with built-in seating nook. Some gardens are built to be admired from afar, but others, like these, are designed to draw you in, to sit, to breathe, to be. The first scene takes us to a quiet nook curved like an embrace. A wooden bench, aged just enough to feel timeless, sits gently within a crescent of vibrant blooms. Pink roses bloom in joyful chaos, accompanied by sprays of forget-me-nots and velvety sages. A lantern dangles from a delicate iron hook, waiting for twilight. The setting is magical, but grounded. No filters, no fantasy. Just real light, soft moss, and the unmistakable sense of a garden that offers more than beauty. It offers presence. You could recreate this moment in your own backyard with a simple arc of wooden border, a bench, and a few well-loved perennials. Then we step into a modern curved space, cleaner, quieter, and perfectly balanced. The flower bed hugs the back of a built-in bench, its soft linen cushions catching the mid-morning sun. Lavender leans into the path, ornamental grasses whisper with every breeze, and a single patch of wild strawberries peeks through. This is more than a seating nook, it's a sensory retreat. The design invites a tactile experience. Run your fingers through the foliage, feel the grain of the wood, and taste the scent of herbs in the air. It's ideal for smaller gardens too, proof that intimacy doesn't require size, only intention. And finally, a bench sits under an archway of green and light, tucked inside a looping garden path. Daisy clusters, salvia spikes, and sweet alyssum blanket the soil like woven fabric. The curved wooden bed forms not only structure, but story. You don't just sit here, you dwell. You watch light shift. You hear the hum of bees. You exhale. All of these designs share one elegant principle. Curvature softens the space. It guides the eye and the body naturally, inviting rest and connection. Whether you're building with smooth cedar or weathered oak, the key is flow. Let the plants follow the shape. Let the seat become part of the bloom. Let the moment stretch. And as you sit, tools down, work done, you'll understand. The most beautiful gardens are not always the most complex. Sometimes, they are simply the ones that offer a place to pause, to feel the curve of the earth beneath your feet, and to let nature lean in. 5. Wood and stone flower bed border with natural drainage. Sometimes, the most beautiful gardens begin not with color, but with texture, and with the soft hush of pebbles underfoot. Here, the flower bed doesn't just bloom, it breathes. Carved from smooth, honey-toned cedar, the wooden frame leads the eye along a river of polished stones. They wind like a forgotten streambed, each one carefully placed but never forced, whispering stories of water and time. Among the stones, coral bells sway beside fern fronds and purple asters. Every petal and leaf catches the sunlight in its own rhythm, and the result is grounding, a gentle reminder that elegance can be simple, quiet, and utterly earthbound. Further along, we discover a rustic border with weathered wooden planks. The grain is raw, natural, and beautifully imperfect. Nestled between the boards are rounded pebbles and subtle river stones in wash tones, grays, tans, and creamy whites. This is more than decor, it's design with intention. These stones aren't just charming, they serve as tiny runoffs, a drainage line that protects the soil while framing the blooms. Basil, calendula, and baby's breath rise gently above, bringing life to the softness of stone. There are no lights, no edits, just sun on petals and soil, and the quiet satisfaction of something built with both beauty and purpose. And finally, a curved border plays like poetry against the green lawn. A warm-toned wood flows in undulating lines, inlaid with white and amber pebbles that shimmer like drops of honey in the light. Between the seams of the wood, moss finds a home, tiny, unnoticed by some, but essential to the charm. Pastel hydrangeas and lily of the valley crowd in, offering scent and softness. At the edge, a watering can rest quietly, as if it too knows this space is special. There's something sacred here, not in grandeur, but in the restraint. A garden that feels personal, loved, and living. These flowerbed borders tell a quiet story, that the right materials, wood, stone, light, and care, can shape not just a garden, but the feeling of home. That you don't need extravagant tools to make something extraordinary. You need attention, balance, and a willingness to let nature lead the design. So begin. One piece of wood, a handful of stones, a corner of sunlight, and soon you'll find yourself surrounded not just by flowers, but by peace. Six. Wooden flower bed border with solar landscape lighting. There's a hush that falls over a garden just before night arrives, not silence, but a soft invitation. The sun begins to dip, and suddenly, the edges of the world seem to glow from within. Along the gentle curve of a raised wooden bed, small lanterns flicker to life. Their soft light doesn't shout, it whispers. Made from deep-stained oak, the border holds its shape with strength, while the solar lights stand like guardians, evenly spaced and quietly proud. Daisies, salvias, and night-scented blooms lean into the last amber rays of sun. The moment is fleeting, but unforgettable, when fireflies rise and the mulch and petals shimmer with golden halos. The garden becomes a memory before it even fades. Elsewhere, a neatly squared cedar bed glows with quiet confidence. At each corner, small copper solar lights are embedded like little treasures, flush with the wood. They begin to twinkle as the sun's final warmth settles on the pansies and creeping thyme. The blooms don't need to reach for attention, the light finds them naturally. No filters, no pretense. Just a garden gently turning the page from day to dusk, its beauty blooming anew under amber light. Then there's the garden path that curves like a song lyric, each step framed by untreated wood rich with rain-washed character. Solar stake lights peek out from between lavender and snapdragons, casting their warmth across stone pavers and down to the ground where petals have fallen like confetti from nature's celebration. This is not just design. It's atmosphere. It's intention. And it's fully real, achievable even by anyone with patience, care, and a little solar magic. Because sometimes, what makes a garden unforgettable is not what's planted, but how it's framed. And how it glows, softly, faithfully, as the stars begin to arrive. Seven, garden fountain in wood-framed flower bed border. There's something timeless about the sound of trickling water. It slows the world down and lets your breath settle into peace. Imagine stepping out into your backyard and finding a quiet garden circle where water hums a soft tune. In the center of a circular wooden bed, weathered and warm from years of sun, a mossy fountain rises gently, bubbling from its top like a whispered secret. Around it, blue lobelias and cheerful geraniums cradle the stone base, their petals fresh and dew-touched. It feels like morning here. Like a moment plucked from serenity and placed in your hands. Then there's a wooden square bed, a more grounded geometry, holding a copper fountain with 3 polished tiers. Water dances down the bowls in the gentlest rhythm, each drip a note in a lullaby. The reclaimed wood border embraces the past, proudly showing its cracks and knots like age lines on a wise face. Chamomile blooms lean into the breeze, violas sparkle in the shade, and a few bees drift lazily near the basin where petals have landed like quiet blessings. It's a garden meant to be felt, not just seen, where every element lives in harmony, and the evening comes with a golden hush. Further along, the design becomes round again, this time like a wreath of cedar, holding within it a lotus-shaped fountain. The stone petals glisten with water, gently overflowing into a shallow bed lined with creeping thyme and soft wildflowers. Columbines sway, yarrow nods, and dragonflies float overhead as if the air itself had been invited to play. The fountain doesn't dominate, it invites. The wood gleams under the sunlight, showing every grain, every nail, every intention placed there by hand. These aren't just flower beds. They're invitations to be still. To listen, to build beauty not just from plants and water, but from time, care, and the dream of creating something that gives back more than it takes. You don't need much, just a few planks, a fountain, and your hands. The rest, nature will gladly take care of. Eight, multi-level wooden garden bed with tiered lounge seating. Sometimes, a garden doesn't just grow plants, it grows presence. It builds a space where nature and comfort meet, where form and function dance with the morning breeze. The beauty of tiered wooden borders is more than their shape, it's the way they welcome you in. Imagine stepping into a quiet garden at golden hour, where low wooden steps rise gently into layers of green and bloom. On each terrace, soft bursts of snapdragon and rosemary cluster like a curated wildness, while pillows await beneath, not just to sit, but to sink, to slow. This is more than seating. It's sanctuary. A place where the only performance is the fluttering of petals and the hush of your own breath. A few steps away, a curved structure hugs a garden's edge like an embrace. It is thoughtful and inviting, crafted not just to frame flowers but to frame moments. Cosmos sway above folded throws. A watering can rests beside ceramic mugs, tools of care and conversation. Here, time doesn't rush. It ambles, like shadows stretching over sun-warmed wood, touching every detail with ease. You can almost hear the murmurs of a story being told under violet blooms. And in the quietest corner, practicality becomes poetry. A bold L-shaped structure stands solid and grounded, balancing bloom and bench in perfect symmetry. The wood is stained a deep, chestnut tone, elegant and earthy. Zinnias and bluebells crowd the upper levels, while baskets of lemons and potted herbs line the base. It feels real, touchable. You can picture your own mornings here, bare feet on grass, the wind chimes stirring softly, a mug of something warm in your hand. These aren't just flower beds. They're invitations. Invitations to sit, to grow, to gather, to rest, to shape something with your own hands that gives back every day. Nine, artistic mosaic wood garden border for creative backyards. Not all gardens begin with seeds, some begin with wood, with the hands that piece together fragments of nature and history into a border that frames beauty in its purest form. This is where design becomes a quiet kind of poetry. Imagine stumbling upon a flower bed enclosed in a patchwork of vertical planks, each one uniquely aged, carved, or painted. It doesn't follow a pattern, it follows a feeling. There's something deeply nostalgic in the mix of worn whitewash, floral etchings, and rustic grain. Lavender sways gently beside blushing snapdragons and ornamental cabbages, creating a scene that feels both handmade and heavenly. A ceramic bird watches over the bed, like a guardian of calm. This isn't just decor. It's a celebration of imperfection and a reminder that recycled beauty tells the best stories. In another corner of the lawn, bright marigolds and poppies rise from a box crafted with geometric precision, but not symmetry. Here, reclaimed wood panels in soft blue, warm pine, charcoal gray, and deep walnut are stacked like puzzle pieces. Every color shift, every visible knot in the wood, feels purposeful. They don't just hold soil, they hold memory. Morning sun slides across the surfaces, bringing each bloom and board to life in a fresh, vibrant harmony. It's the kind of border that turns a simple lawn into an artful garden stage. And then there's the masterpiece. A long raised bed that stretches along the edge of the yard, faced with a handcrafted mosaic of diamonds and triangles, all cut from different wood species. The grain flows in perfect tension with the blooms inside, tulips, daisies, and wild blue cornflowers, like a melody sung through color and shape. This is no ordinary garden edge. It's the work of a dreamer with tools in hand and a vision in their heart. These borders don't just define your garden, they define the way you experience it. Whether you're working with scrap wood, thrift pieces, or a fresh set of planks, your creativity can turn any patch of earth into a living canvas. No two gardens will ever look the same. And that's the point. 10. Wooden flower bed border with vertical trellis wall. There's something undeniably romantic about vertical gardens. The way vines curl toward the sky, how blossoms trail down like cascading notes of a floral symphony, it turns an ordinary space into a storybook sanctuary. Imagine stepping into a quiet corner, where a trellis leans gently against time-worn stone. The wooden bed beneath is carved from rich cedar, its deep grain echoing years of growth. Morning glories reach upward with elegant urgency, mingling with soft pink roses that tumble and sway. It's a garden that doesn't scream for attention, but gently invites you to pause. Beside it, a wooden bench cradles fallen petals like whispered memories. This isn't just a planting area, it's a space that listens, that breathes, that soothes. Shift your gaze to a brighter morning, where sunlight dances across pale pine boards. A long, rectangular bed stands proud against a lattice of soft, intersecting lines. Here, climbing sweet peas and tendrils of ivy stretch across the frame like nature's own tapestry, building a private curtain of green. Below, bursts of calendula bring warmth and cheer, while mint hums in silence beneath. There's practicality here, yes, but also poetry. A structure not only of wood and roots, but of purpose, a natural screen, a blooming fence, a gentle retreat. Then there is the moment where color takes center stage, where clematis in lavender, buttery yellow, and blush explode in bloom, wrapping themselves around vertical slats like dancers in a botanical ballet. Beneath them, violets and ferns form a soft cushion of life, every frond and petal touched by filtered daylight. The planter box, made with thoughtful hands, doesn't boast, it supports. And in doing so, it becomes part of a living tapestry that blurs the line between garden and dream. These wooden flower beds with vertical trellises aren't just about saving space. They're about reclaiming intimacy with nature. They are built with quiet intention and grown with a sense of wonder, creating places where walls blossom and corners bloom. In these gardens, height becomes poetry, and every vertical inch tells a story of upward hope. (11) Multifunction wooden flower bed with hidden storage drawers. In a quiet corner where sunlight lingers just a little longer, a wooden flower bed reveals more than blooms. At first glance, it's a celebration of color. Lavender, snapdragons, kale, and thyme dance side by side in soft harmony. But then, as you lean closer, you notice the drawers beneath, hidden compartments tucked within its wooden frame. They slide open smoothly, revealing the tools of a gardener's quiet devotion: terracotta pots, gloves with stories in their seams, and seed packets waiting to awaken. This is no ordinary planter. It's a gardener's companion, carved not only for beauty but for thoughtfulness. The drawers feel like secrets, lovingly designed for practicality. Some are filled with plant tags and watering tools, others house coils of hose and bags of organic soil, each tucked away but never out of reach. The structure itself is built from reclaimed wood, kissed by time and softened by hands that value craftsmanship over flash. And isn't that what a dream garden is all about? Not just the visible glory of the blooms, but the quiet systems beneath that sustain them. In this planter, magic and utility coexist. The matte wood grain tells of many sunny days, and the drawer handles gleam subtly in the golden light. It's a place where every drawer has a purpose, every flower has a rhythm, and every shadow has a story. These wooden planters aren't just beds for blossoms, they are beautiful bases of creation, ready to be built by hands like yours. Modular interlocking wooden planters for custom garden layouts. When design meets function in a garden, it creates more than beauty, it creates a sanctuary. In these wooden raised beds, something quietly brilliant takes shape. At first glance, they're just tidy planters, brimming with tulips, herbs, or kale. But look closer, and you'll see the hidden drawers, cleverly crafted compartments that slide open to reveal a gardener's treasure trove. Gloves, seed packets, tools, and terracotta pots rest inside like secrets tucked away in a fairytale cottage. It's a place where order meets organic, and everything you need to grow is right beneath the blooms. The sunlight dances on the clean wooden frames, showing off the raw texture of the grain. Some drawers with smooth silver handles, others more rustic and handle-free. Each unit is built to last, but also to change, to adapt to whatever phase your garden is in. Perhaps today you're sowing seeds. Tomorrow, storing bulbs. Next week, hiding a little surprise for someone special who tends the beds with you. These planters aren't just boxes, they're living extensions of the gardener's soul. They whisper of seasons, of care, of the quiet magic that happens when design is thoughtful and earth meets human intention. And just a few steps away, something more modular takes root. A garden puzzle, with interlocking wood planters forming hexagons, waves, and tidy grids. They feel like a poem built from timber and bloom. You don't just plant in these, you compose. One box is a burst of lavender and pansies, another overflows with sweet wild calendula, while creeping vines softly tumble over the sides, reaching for their neighbors in a gentle embrace. It's a composition that can change shape at will, flexible, imaginative, responsive to both mood and season. Each joint fits perfectly, not just for structure, but for storytelling. The modular forms are strong but inviting, like a child's building blocks reinvented for grown-up dreams. Some sit low and wide, others stack high near the greenhouse glass, beacons of lettuce and nasturtiums stretching upward. The entire setup glows in crisp natural light, where every detail, from the steel bolts to the petal veining, is rendered in honesty. Nothing artificial. Just clean air, real wood, and a layout you could build yourself, today or tomorrow. And in the center of the lawn, a whimsical shape cradles the phrase, "Grow wild." It's both a suggestion and a blessing. In this heart-shaped raised bed, flowers aren't confined, they are celebrated. Nature is invited to play, not just obey. It's a gentle rebellion against formality, where the structure gives guidance, but not restriction. The soft shadows across the soil seem to nod in agreement. You can almost hear the laughter of butterflies. This is more than a garden setup. It's an invitation to dig, to dream, and to design spaces that hold your intention, your tools, and your joy all in one. If today's video sparked even one idea for your dream garden, give it a like and share it with a fellow nature lover. Don't forget to subscribe to Backyard Fortune for more magical garden DIYs, and turn on notifications so you never miss what's blooming next. See you in the next video, and until then, keep growing your paradise.